Welcome to episode 2 of What's the Call? I'm Gavin Roll, and I'm here with my co-host Eli Gatchel.
What's up? What's up?
And today we are going over week 2 of college football. They said it wasn't supposed to be a good week of college football, but it turned out to be honestly pretty interesting, pretty wild.
And it was the trap week. Definitely a trap week. If you were a ranked team playing an unranked team, this was not the week for you. The headliner of this is Florida, losing to USF. I think the biggest thing we learned out of that, though, is USF is a legit team.
Yeah,
But we
they're
had
a
a
real
lot of
deal.
scares, a lot of lackluster performances, and then a lot of 70 bombs. Might be the most 70-point games I've ever seen in one week. So it was a big week for college football.
Yeah, I was talking about this earlier. The Oregon, Oregon put in a butt whooping on
Um,
Oklahoma
oh,
State. They made them look like an FCS school. I'm like, oh
yeah,
my gosh.
Mike Gundy. I wouldn't show my face again, but he's gonna pull his shirt up next interview and show his nipples again. I I, I don't even know where to go. If you're an Oklahoma State fan at this point, that 69-3 is outrageous.
Oh,
That,
that's
that's
bad. That's bad.
that's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
But anyways, we called a couple games. We called a couple
Oh,
games.
we did. Both of my lines hit. If you bet my lines, you made some money. JMU and USF, both the lines hit. I got some more lines at the end of the day. I think you might hit for week three, but we're 2 for 2 right now, so let's double it. I got four lines this week. Give those to you a little bit later.
Call him the
But
money
yeah, I
man.
was my my USF South Florida Bulls played good, man. They came through. I thought it was going to be a close game as it is, but DJ
Hmm.
Lagway looked more like DJ Uyunglele or however you say it. So, um, bad week for him, but I do think they'll bounce back at some point. Kind of
Yeah,
going through the rest of the list. We have Troy and Clemson. I I don't
that
know
was
really.
interesting.
I can put a lot of the teams that went through 2 3 hour delays did struggle this weekend. You could attribute it to that a little bit, or I think it's a little bit Clemson's overrated, but I do think weather played into it a little bit. We'll see a lot this next week when they play Georgia Tech. South Carolina kind of beat South Carolina State like a drum, but
Yeah.
it was a weather game. I don't think it finished like 1 a.m. late at night. We had Illinois and Duke. Darian Mintz is fun to watch, and that's about it for Duke. The rest of the team looked pretty bad.
It
Illinois
was a
ran the
good
ball. You turned it over a lot. Not a good showing.
it was a
Arizona
good
State,
it was a good
you
game
got
through
cowbelled.
the hold up. It was a good game probably for about the first quarter and a half. The Duke
Oh yeah,
Illinois one. And
and then
then
it went
it was
downhill for
fell
Duke after
apart
that.
downhill.
We got Arizona State. You got cowbelled. Mississippi State. Welcome back to the SEC. Finally got a big win. It's been years. We've been looking for it. Now we just need that one SEC conference win. Um, Good job, Mississippi State, though. Love to see them good again. I hate the sound of the cowbells, but it's cool to see them back. Florida State.
I also think Arizona State was is significantly overrated
Oh,
too.
I do too. I do too.
Significantly. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that at all, honestly. Not at all.
Florida State put up 500,000 on East Central Tech A&M University. Um, And then we have Oklahoma took care of Michigan.
Yeah.
Bryce Underwood, it's going to be next year for Michigan. I don't believe this year. They have a pretty easy schedule this year, but I think they're a year out from being a real contender. They don't really have any weapons on the outside. Still pretty good defense, but yeah, like they're a year out. Oklahoma does look pretty legit though. You got John
Yeah,
Mateer.
they look
You got
good.
some weapons finally on the outside. You can run the ball a little bit. The defense is still there. You got Brent Venables. They're looking really good. You have Iowa and Iowa State in the highest offensive scoring game of the day. Um, just kidding. In the most classic,
How many RPOs did Iowa pull out?
the RPO counter broke the 100. Um, Iowa State with a big 16-13 win in the most
Yeah.
Iowa fashion possible. We had Baylor SMU. Baylor in an instant classic that no one saw coming. Sawyer Robertson is for real. Sawyer Robertson's a real quarterback. SMU was also very overrated.
Yeah, SMU was very overrated. That was my upset pick from last week. I'm so happy it hit. I didn't know I was a Baylor Bear fan until watching that game. I'm like throwing my hands at the TV and yelling at the TV. I didn't realize I was that invested in Baylor Bears football, but they pulled it out. And yeah, Sawyer Robertson, he's a dog. Dog. He
Yeah.
four over 400 yards both games, and Auburn game threw for 3 touchdowns. SMU threw for 4 touchdowns, and he has 0 interceptions yet on this year. So he's like single-handedly carrying that Baylor team,
Mhm.
and it
I do
he
think that game makes me a little skeptical about Auburn's offense now, though. After watching
yeah
Baylor's defense give up 45 again, love
yeah
to see Auburn play an Oklahoma or something like that they have coming up on their schedule. So we'll see about that.
yeah.
We have Ole Miss, Kentucky really to round out the day. They played, I'm pretty sure 3:30. Um, Kind of a weird game. They turned the ball. Austin Simmons turned the ball over a little bit to start the game. Ole Miss kind of came back, went up. Kentucky scored late. Mark Stoops is the master at covering lines. If you're going to check into somebody on illegal gambling, I would check in on him because that man covers every single line known to man if he needs to do it. It's ridiculous. Ole Miss got Arkansas next week. It's only a 6.5 point line. It's at Ole Miss,
Mhm.
so Vegas knows something in
Yeah,
that game. It'll be an interesting one to look into later. But
yeah,
yeah, that about sums it up for week two. It was either a blowout or you got bit. So not a whole lot
yeah.
of close games. Had a few in there.
I will add also a great game that we kind of shouted out, Michigan State, Boston College. They that was a shootout too, and that turned out to be a great game. And I love to see Michigan State coming out on top for that one. I think when they're good, the Big Ten's good. So hopefully they can keep it up, keep things going, and shake things up over there in the Big Ten.
Also, shout out Vandy, shout out Missouri. Two big out of conference wins.
Yeah,
Missouri played a great game against Kansas, the border war. I don't know if you
yeah,
saw the guy with the prosthetic leg who kicked the ball at Kansas sideline, then rolled up his shirt and said "F you Kansas" on there. That
yeah.
was
I
pretty.
did see that. I did see that.
And then you also had Vandy going into Virginia Tech and just slinging the ball around the yard. They're going to South Carolina next week, so that'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Also,
No.
the last thought I had on week two was I had written down in my notes was Oregon State punter. What the hell are you doing? And how are you getting home? Because I don't know if you saw that clip, but dude dropped the ball and he just kicked it on the ground.
Yeah,
Went
I
about
saw
20
that. I saw
yards. The
that.
guy
I
from
saw
Fresno State picks it up and
that.
runs it back to the house. He even had his head coach crashing out after the game. So I don't believe we'll ever see that kid playing football again. They're going to go to a
Yeah.
frat house like Lane Kiffin did and find a punter to play on Oregon State. That kid might have just had his last collegiate punt and it wasn't even an actual punt. So that was pretty fun to watch.
Give him an A for effort. Give him an A for effort on that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
But so that was our week two recap. You know, I feel like if you were a college football lover, it even though the names weren't really there between big games, it still ended up being a great weekend of football.
Every
I think
weekend's a great weekend of football.
that is true. I think this weekend we definitely have maybe a couple more big name matchups that we'll get to later in the episode. But now it's time for the main segment. What's the call? What's the call? And actually, you know,
Yeah.
I just started officiate intramural flag football. So
Uh-oh.
you already know I got the gear now. I got the gear. I got the stripes to put on. I got the stripes to put on. Hold up. Give me a second.
You need a
Things are
whistle
getting
now too.
official. Real official.
You need a
Pun
whistle again.
intended. I'm ready. Game ready. Uh, so we had a couple interesting calls this weekend. Watching these games. That I would like to go over, and I know this time I actually sent you the clips, so you're not seeing them for the first time. So hopefully
Yeah.
you reviewed them. But let's get into it. First clip of the day is Iowa. versus Iowa State game. This was an interesting one. This was on a punt. For those of you listening on Spotify, we'll try to go do more of a play-by-play. That way there's not gaps. But anyways, this is pretty sure Iowa is punting to Iowa State. And
We have a
so
classic case of kick catch interference here.
yeah, yeah. And that's what I saw. From that look, I mean, the Iowa player, like, he tried getting out of the way, but he still touched him. And so from first view, I'm just like, that's kick catch interference. However, the refs decided on this play to call it a fumble, and it became Iowa's ball. And I'm like, what? I forget if there's a replay here, but I'm pretty sure there is. But I'm like,
And
how is that Iowa State's fault? Yeah,
the
no
biggest
foul.
thing here would be if the Iowa State defender blocked the Iowa guy into him.
Yeah, they
If
said
that
he
was the case, then that's deemed not kick catch interference. It becomes just a call from the referee at that point.
yeah.
I mean, I think they're trying to decide here: did the Iowa State player push the defender into the returner, or was did he just go? That angle looks like the
The,
Iowa player
yeah, the Iowa player's
actually
pushing the
pushed him
Iowa
out of,
State
yeah.
player, pushed him away from
Um,
the guy. He never even made contact with his own player, and then the Iowa guy ran into him.
yeah, I
So
think
I'm
that's a really
like,
bad call.
that's a terrible call. I'm like, what? How?
That's a
I,
really bad call.
hey,
Um,
and
you have to give the
obviously
receiver
Iowa
enough room to
recovers.
catch the ball.
Yeah,
That's a really bad call. I don't know if I don't know if that's reviewable or not. Um,
watch it real quick.
if it's not
Pushes
reviewable, I
him,
guess I can
makes that.
understand how they would call that. But
And then I'm confused too. They gave Iowa possession, but it hit the Iowa. I mean, they gave Iowa State possession. Or wait, no, Iowa got possession, but it
mhm.
hit the Iowa um
Gunner,
guy. It hit the gunner first. I'm like, isn't it a dead ball as soon as it hits the kicking team's player?
uh,
Or
I mean, it
or
should
how does
be.
that work?
I think. Well, he would have had number four would have had to touch the ball for it to. He probably touched it at some point. Um,
Well, look here.
he would have
Okay.
had to have touched it for them to call it.
It hits the Iowa guy first. Iowa State hasn't even touched it yet. Then it hits the
Yeah,
Iowa
he
State
touched it right there.
guy.
Yeah, I think you have to have possession,
Um,
not just touching it.
okay. But
Yeah,
anyways,
because
yeah, that's kick catch interference to a T. I don't
yeah,
know what they
I don't
saw,
even
why they
they
reversed the
that's a
call, they took the flag away, but that
yeah,
was that was just a terrible call.
yeah. We got to do better. Do better,
Yeah.
Iowa
Yeah.
officials.
Yeah. What do we think? I don't know who was officiating that game, if it was Big Ten or Big 12.
They sent the D
But
team out there.
but anyways, our next game or our next play is another similar instance with Baylor SMU. Another controversial kick catch interference call. And
Yes.
I was watching this one live, and I it's very interesting.
Before we get into the clip, though, shout out to the worst YouTube channel of all time, the ACC Network, putting their watermark on the scoreboard so you can't see the time or the score throughout the whole highlight film. Really doing your job well there, guys. Appreciate it. Love watching this video back.
But anyways, to the highlight, SMU is punting the ball to Baylor. Um, it's kicked, and then Baylor guy looks like he's going to return it, and bang, SMU guy completely just obliterates him. Um, Here I'll slow it down.
What'd the call end up being here?
They ended up calling it, they called it off. They said initially they said kick catch interference, but like
Mhm.
the Iowa State, they called it off. They took away the flag and said it was actually a block in the back. Um,
Oh,
but I think SMU ended up declining the block in the back, and they got the ball because it obviously during this hole here, boom. So it hits the Baylor's guy's leg, and then
oh, it's
obviously
way
SMU can recover.
okay.
Um,
Well, that's
as
yeah. I'd have to see. You'd have to see the other angle to see if there's a block in the back first.
here, let's see if I can. I don't know if there's another angle. That's the issue.
Oh, right here would be it.
Okay, so they're
Okay, right there.
going,
Yeah,
and then
I could
I
see
don't.
how they call that. Just there's a little extension there.
There's a
I don't think
little
it's enough.
extension.
I
I
don't
don't.
think for that
It's
call it's enough there. Yeah, like, but I could see where it comes from since there was an extension before the before
yeah,
um this one I'm a little
mm,
more okay with before, but at the same time, I don't really agree with being able to just lay out a defenseless player who's looking
yeah,
straight up into the
yeah,
air. And just because he was touched in the back that makes it cool. Because obviously he was not pushed enough where he had all his momentum was going that way. You saw him clearly lower his shoulder
yeah,
and make a hit. He had time to get out of the way if he needed to.
yeah.
Um, so
I
I don't think they should throw that unless he like literally was blocked into him and was like
yeah,
had no
yeah,
choice.
yeah. I from the angle I saw, and I think they gave a better replay than from what the highlights showed, was it looked like the guy gave a little extension, but his arms didn't completely extend out or anything. And the SMU's player momentum was already like going towards the
Yeah, going towards
returner.
him.
Like if it was a block in the back, I feel like the SMU guy would have gone flying past him, but he
Yeah,
was. So I just don't agree. They can take away the um kick catch interference, but I just didn't like the fact that too. The Baylor guy gets completely wiped out. He doesn't know where the ball is going to be. And so he gets penalized for it happening to clip his foot, and SMU recovers. I just don't like that. So I really like, if anything, I just wish they probably would have stuck with the kick catch interference. That way, I feel like the Baylor returner was penalized for nothing he did,
yeah.
and
I
I
mean,
just
I
didn't
agree.
feel like the Baylor guy gave enough extension or anything. Like he like extended a little bit and then he took his hands off.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's hard. It's a bang bang play, but I don't agree with their final ruling on
I
that.
don't know. I think we're 0 for 2 on referee calls,
Yeah, 0
both
for
on
2.
kick catch interference. So,
Yeah. Third clip we have is big time call. I think this ended up being USF's final drive.
hmm
2 minutes, 22 seconds. USF is at their own 11. Um, second down and 10. Share it with you. Second down and 10. I think this is in normal speed to start off with. So, ball is hiked, obviously. Quarterback throws to his right, and it's an incomplete pass. Um, I'll go back, slow down a little bit, just so we can actually see. Um, but yeah, so he throws to his right. He's looking for far receiver who's cutting across. They ended up calling pass interference on the Florida guy. Let me see if there's a review. Here we go. This is a great angle. This is a great angle of it.
SPI.
Yeah. I
Grabbing him around the
honestly,
shoulder.
I, yeah, I grabbed his arm a little bit. I,
hmm
I'm not the biggest fan of PI. I would have liked to see probably holding instead
That's true.
because when he was coming out of his break, um, he had the back of his jersey. So I think I would have rather seen holding rather than pass interference because if I'm being honest, I've seen a lot more hook and hold being done and there to be a no call on that, you know? Um, I definitely think though the holding was there because he had a great grab of his jersey. Coming out of his break right here, like even on his arm, he's holding him. He's holding him. I don't even think, I don't know where the ball is here. Maybe the ball has been released already. Um, but I agree. I think it's a penalty, but I would have liked to see a holding rather than PI. I don't think it, you know, penalizes Florida as much because
Yeah.
overall, I thought it was pretty good defense. I thought it was pretty good defense on the
There's
layout especially, but
there was no penalty in this game that did justice to what the Florida defensive lineman did on the last drive, pulling a Jalen Carter special and spitting on the USF guy. I don't know why in the world you do that. Your team, you need one stop to win the game, holding the field goal range, and you decide you want to spit on the USF player. Next play, they take the ball all the way down the sideline, poor tackling. You got Billy Ball in Florida that is not working right now. It's given shades of uh, the DB from Florida back in the day, something Wilson, Marco Wilson maybe that threw the shoe against LSU. Florida just can't get out of
yeah.
their own way. Is if you this the craziest thing to think about. If you just don't spit on the other team, you may get out of there with a win. That's all. That's what you're asking now in Florida. Hey guys, let's not spit on the other team when we're playing, and maybe we can win a game. Yeah, I just you got to clean up that stuff in the first place if you want to get to where you want to get as Florida.
He was trying
It's
to do
just
him a favor.
it's ridiculous. I mean, this team we're in year three of Billy Napier. This was supposed to be the year. You got year two of DJ Lagway. You finally got some offensive weapons. You have a few defensive players on the squad, and you threw away your season. Your schedule's too hard to lose this game. I know USF's a good team,
Yeah.
but USF's not better than Georgia. USF's
No.
not better than LSU. USF's not better than Texas A&M. You have all these games you have to play still. Of all these, USF's definitely not better than Texas. You have all these teams you have to play, and you're throwing away the game on because you want to spit on someone. It, it,
Yeah.
it,
He was
it's
just trying to cool him off. It's a swamp. It's humid. It's humid out there, down there. He was
I
just
don't
trying to do
know,
him a
man.
little favor, try to cool him
I
off a little bit.
I can't. I feel for Florida, but you will never be what you were if you can't even get these things eliminated. The fact that this has happened twice now, where it's not even spitting on someone and losing a game, is probably not even the worst thing that's happened to you in the last 5 years. That you threw a shoe away and threw your playoff hopes away it's got to be changed.
Yeah, I didn't even
So
know about that whole spinning thing. That's new news to me, which
yeah.
that's insane. That
Yeah,
that
personal
like
foul, 15-yard penalty.
yeah,
You gain a
yeah,
free first down. Next play, screen
yeah,
pass down the
yeah,
sideline, 50 yards. You're in field goal range at that point.
yeah, yeah,
USF's got a good kicker. The game's over. So it's as quick as that. Your season goes from promising to bad.
yeah,
And I mean, I'd be to be honest though, if I'm playing Florida in the future, it's one of those teams where it's like even if they're already have three losses, four losses, they have enough talent to get anybody in the country that they want on a given day. So it's a scary team to play, but you as a team throwing away your hopes because of just pure undisciplined play and your quarterback not being ready. Um,
yeah,
he he he's been hurt for so long, he hadn't been playing. So
yeah,
it's just it was a combination of not being ready, not scheming it right, you overlooked USF too, and USF's a good football team. So
yeah,
all that coming together, it creates a recipe for disaster. And Florida found that out on Saturday afternoon.
yeah. I think we'll throw one more in there.
All right,
I know this game,
I
this
do. I want to bring up one after this too. That
okay.
that is a little
Um,
confusing to me.
little confused. You want to just go with yours then?
Yeah, yeah.
Just
Well, it's
yeah,
not a
we'll
clip,
we'll
but
just we'll just roll
on
with yours.
Friday night, JMU took on Louisville at Louisville.
Yeah,
I don't know whoever was watching this game. JMU ran a true two quarterback system.
yeah.
Not this was not a he takes one drive, the other guy takes the other one. We were rotating these QBs almost every play. Now, in
Every single
theory,
play.
it works because you have one guy who's a little better with his legs, one guy's a little better
Yeah,
with his arm.
yeah.
The problem I saw with the JMU strategy though is every time Matthew Slucka came in the
Yeah.
game, he was their running quarterback. He ran the
Hmm.
ball every time. We didn't try to
Yeah,
pass it.
every
I don't
time.
think, but maybe
I th
once.
I think he
If in
ended
the
up
pass,
passing it twice, and that's
okay, and
because they kept him in for a little bit at the very end.
in the
But
passing plays,
but the thing is too is they kept him in for passing because their supposedly passing quarterback wasn't hitting his guys. He couldn't throw the ball accurately. So they're like, shoot, we might as well run with the guy that's actually getting us some yards.
but you
Um,
ran into a wall here where if I mean any quarterback is it's hard to come in any sport, come into a game cold and be effective. If
yeah,
you have a true passing
yeah,
quarterback who is your passer, this guy was also Alonzo Barnett. He's like second team all Sun Belt. So he was
yeah,
supposed to be the guy for them. But when you're running the QB on first and second down like they did, they put Sluck in the ball game, maybe ran
mhm,
for 2 yards. They had a
yeah,
holding penalty, back up 10 yards. He runs
yeah,
it again for 7 yards, and they throw Barnett in there. It's third and 14. They say, all right, man, go make a play. And he gets in
yeah,
there. He's getting blitzed and he's getting
yeah,
sacked because he doesn't have time to do it. You're giving away your tendency. They know you're not running the ball when you throw them in there. Shotgun with no, it's an
hmm,
empty set, or you have a running
yeah,
back in there, not running on third and 13. I think they did a terrible job at really like
yeah,
they just it was dead giveaway. Like you thought maybe okay, we'll put the running quarterback in here, we'll do play action. It was either a pass that he called and he just took off running every time, or it was a pure QB run. And every
yeah,
time you put the thrower in Barnett number 14, it was a pure pass. You knew what was coming. And I think it backfired a lot and on them. And I mean, I would think going forward, obviously the James Madison coach knows a lot more about me than his team, but you got to pick one. Or if
yeah,
you use the other guy, you go with Barnett, the thrower, and you throw
yeah,
the other guy in, like how Texas used Arch Manning last year. You put him on third and one and let him just bulldoze. Put him in on third and two or
yeah,
second and two. They put him in on
yeah,
short passing because then on a second and one, you can then have him. This guy played at UNLV and got him to 3-0 last year, Slucka, and then hit the portal because he wasn't getting paid enough. So he obviously can throw the ball.
yeah,
You can do a play action, second and one, go deep. So I think they terribly mismanaged that in terms of the what's the call section. I don't. I think the coach. I would not manage that two QB
no,
system. In theory, it's supposed to work, but who has ever made it work? I
yeah.
can't think of on the top
I
of my
can't
head
think. Yeah,
one team that's done a true two QB system.
yeah.
Colorado just got
I
both
mean,
their two QB systems beat out by a white guy. So, um, yeah, I don't think it worked at all. I think it was a very
yeah.
badly managed game.
I think the call on that one is you just got to go with one.
Yeah,
Like, even if you lose the game, I mean, they ended up losing anyways, running the two, but neither of the quarterbacks could get comfortable in there because they don't know if they're getting swapped out the next play or not. Like, how do you expect to run offense if you have no offensive chemistry because your
you're looking over the
quarterbacks are,
sideline
yeah, your quarterbacks
every
are in
play,
and
going, "Am
out.
I coming
Yeah,
out?" Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
And
uh,
you just, at that point, Barnett could run. He scrambled a couple times in there. I mean, I don't know
it,
if they're like scared to get him injured or something, but I'm like, that's why you like run it. You have a one quarterback system. If that guy ends up getting injured, you bring in the backup, and he should be ready to go. Maybe he's a
yeah,
little less advanced, with the system and stuff, but he should be prepared to take over if the first guy gets injured. Because
yeah,
you're running a two quarterback system. What if one of them gets injured? Then you're
yeah,
down to a single quarterback system anyways, and your whole play calling is screwed then. And I
yeah.
just think the defense then knows what's coming. Oh, Sluka's coming and oh, this is going to be a run right up the middle. It was like that 95% of the games. Luka comes in, it's a run, then it's a pass. The defense going to know.
Yeah.
And
I-
they lost to Louisville doing that. You ain't going
Yeah.
to win any big games using a two quarterback
Yeah.
system. It won't
Yeah,
happen.
JMU was even looked at was those dark horse contenders for a playoff spot this year.
Yeah.
So I think one of the overlooked things too, is even like the two quarterbacks coming in as often as they do. That's two different cadences for the center, two different things to hear. And if you're throwing in a new QB every play, he's hearing two different things almost every other snap. I know
Yeah.
his offensive line. I feel like that would kind of throw you off a little bit too. But I think it. I mean, nowadays you have to consider it could be one of those things where they paid to get this. They're paying both their QBs a lot of money, and I mean, if you're figuring, especially the school like JMU, if you're paying them both that much, might as well use them both. Or they don't want to have a case where just like what Slucka did last year at UNLV, got through 3 games, went 3-0, and said, "Y'all, I'm not getting paid what I want, and I'm out." So I
Yeah.
think those coaches are seeing that too and worried. Hey, like if we play this one guy, the other guy's just going to bail on us and go play at a Power Four team next year. So we got to
Yeah.
be careful about how we manage these two guys, which is a sucky thing to have to deal with. But I mean, if it's going to hurt your team's chemistry and play at the end of the day, you got to pick one and ride. So.
Yeah. 100% agree. Um, well, we'll see what happens with JMU the rest of the year. Maybe they go to one quarterback, maybe they don't. We'll see how it pans out. Um, but that wraps up the What's the Call segment. And for any viewers or listeners out there, obviously me and E aren't going to be able to watch every single game. But if you have, any calls or any play calls
Suggestions.
that you see, or you're like screaming at your TV because you're like, what the hell are you doing, coach? And you want us to go over that, don't be afraid to DM us on Instagram at What's the Call. That, it's what's WHATS the dot call. And we'll be happy to review the clip, review the highlight, and possibly add it to the show. Because obviously, we want to try to get all the wrong calls that we can, but we can't watch
We
every
can't watch.
single game. So, just
I mean,
go
hey,
ahead.
you can even if your boss at work's not giving you a raise and you wanted a raise, send it in. We'll review it. You
Send it
give us
in.
some
We'll review
info,
it.
and
Yeah,
we'll do
yeah,
real life reviews
yeah.
too. So I mean, it's what's the call on life. There's no sport here that's we're designated to. So I'd love to see it.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get to into our week 3 look ahead. Couple more ranked games this weekend. That should be interesting. Should be another great weekend of college football. Who do you have that you think is going to be, pretty down to the wire games, big games that have maybe even CFP implications this early
Yeah,
on in
yeah.
this season?
So I would start that off with at noon in Atlanta, Georgia. We have Clemson and Georgia Tech. I think it's a huge game for both those teams. Um, Clemson's started very lackluster to a season that they thought was going to be really big. You come out and you beat Georgia Tech, which is a pretty good team. I think you get the ship righted and you can go as far as you want from there because you don't really have another game until South Carolina the last week of the season. So we have that. We also have Georgia Tech. Um, if you don't kill Haynes King, it goes pretty far, but your backup QB can sling it. So I think in Georgia Tech, you do have a little bit of you may by midseason have a little bit of a QB dilemma, depending on what Haynes King health is like. I think this is a really close game. Um, I I don't really lean one way or the other because this game could go a lot of different ways. I want to say Clemson will end up righting the ship, but I could see it going both ways.
Yeah,
Then we move down. We have. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. I I do agree that's going to be a great game, and I think Georgia Tech has been kind of slept on, and they've been developing over the past couple of years. And I'm high on Haynes King. I really like him as a quarterback after watching him in that Georgia game last year. I know he gave you a scare there, but
Yeah.
I really think he's a great leader, and he's a tough kid. He's a tough kid. He's willing to run between the tackles and
Mhm.
just, gain that extra yards. So I do agree. If Clemson loses that one, I honestly think it might be very hard for them to get in the CFP.
Yep. This is a
Um,
big game for them.
yeah, another big game. If they can't win this big game, are they going to win any more big games? Probably not. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so the next one I would say I won't even go really into this. Wisconsin, Alabama. I think the Tide roll in that. That's not going to be a close game. Wisconsin's not a good team. Alabama's still on their something to prove arc. They'll be 2-1 going into Athens in a few weeks. Um, our biggest game of the week is College Game Day. We have Georgia at Tennessee. Being a Georgia guy, this one scares me a lot. I think both these teams are really good. Tennessee,
Yeah.
came in this year with the Nico Imalev stuff and Joey Aguilar. Had a lot of questions about Aguilar. Um, I don't think a lot of those questions have been answered per se yet. We've seen him light up Syracuse and ETSU. I do want to see him against the Georgia defense. I think this Georgia defense is better than what they put out on the field last year. They have four all-American caliber linebackers, really good defensive line play, and you have KJ Bolden back at safety. You have two NFL caliber DBs, Dalen Everett, Ellis Robinson, Daniel Harris. The list goes on and on. I think the keys for this game are can Georgia run the ball and hold Tennessee from explosive plays. I think Georgia's game plan is to make this a physical rock fight, 4 quarters. And can you weather the storm of Neyland Stadium as Gunnar Stockton your first true road start?
Yeah.
For me, those are the really the huge keys of the game. I can see this game going both ways.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think I can see it being a blowout either way, though. I think it's
No,
going to be a
I
four
don't
quarter
no.
fight. Both these teams are really good. Josh Heupel's built a great defense, and I think he finally has a QB, first QB since Hendon Hooker that really fits that offense. I don't think Joe Milton or Nico really kind of did what he wanted them to do. They're both really athletic, but I think Joey Aguilar kind of fits this mold, which is scary because he's only been there for really 2 months. So I think he'll progress through the season, but this is his true first hurdle of a real defense, in terms of somebody that can make him really feel uncomfortable and show him things he's not seen yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm excited. It should be a
I'm
really fun game to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely excited to see these two. Um, I think I'm really looking forward to see what these guys are made of. I haven't watched too much of either team this year, and obviously, usually first couple games you're starting against
Yeah.
weaker guys, so this is really the first big test I think for both of these teams, and I'm excited to see it play out on the field.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
think that even just the last thing on this game, I know Georgia's played two cupcakes so far, but I mean
yeah,
Syracuse had a 4 quarter battle with UConn. So
yeah,
I don't think we really know a whole lot about Tennessee either, going in and winning that game.
yeah,
Yeah, so moving on from that one, I think our next big one of the day is South Florida, Miami. South Florida's legit.
yeah.
I know Miami looked good against Notre Dame. You got Carson Beck playing,
Hmm.
reverting back to his 2023 form. Um, but Miami needs to be careful. I don't think they're gonna underplay this game. I think they'll be ready to go, especially after last week. But I think South Florida's just a good team. I don't think it's
Yeah,
something where Miami's just like, oh, we're gonna take them for granted and go in. I think this is a legit team. It's actually kind of funny. There's a funny coincidence. The last time South Florida beat an SEC school on the road, they turned around and beat an ACC school that next week. So I
wow.
don't know if it's a coincidence, but that's from 2007. Last time they're ranked number 2 in the country that year.
Holy,
I think that game's going to be a close game. I think South Florida is just a good team. I don't think Miami's going to steamroll them, especially if they take away the pass. You make Carson Beck one dimensional. You saw what happened last year when that happens at Georgia. So I trust Alex Golish, and think they'll be able to scheme something up there. Um,
yeah. I definitely think. that's going to be a good game. Um, like you said, I don't think Miami's going to underestimate them. I think Florida underestimated them, and we saw what happened there. But now it's kind of like you know, a wake-up call for a lot of teams, and like, hey, South Florida, they got a defense. They got a defense, and they come to play. Um, and when you have a defense and a quarterback, and they're both playing good ball, you start to win games. And I think right now for South Florida, that's kind of what's happening for them. So I think that'll be a good game. Unfortunately, it's on the CW network I see there. So
Hmm.
so it looks like I'm gonna be watching the
Dude,
highlights
the
of that one.
CW is throwing straight bangers, dude. Last week we got Baylor SMU. This week we
Yeah.
got South Florida Miami. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh,
Moving on from that, I think the sleeper game of the day is Arkansas at Ole Miss. Now, I don't know a whole
yeah.
lot about Arkansas, but I know Taylon Green's back, and he's a fun player to watch. And I saw Ole Miss struggle with Kentucky. I think Ole Miss might be overlooking this game a little bit. I'd watch out for Arkansas, and that line is only 6.5 Ole Miss, so Vegas knows something too. I think that may be a closer game than you think, and I think
Yeah.
that might be my upset of the day too. If it happens, I think Arkansas might roll in that one, and be relevant again for the first time since KJ Jefferson was there. So we'll see about that. We also got Florida and LSU. Um, I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it will be.
LSU looked pretty lackluster last week too, and
Yeah.
now seeing what this turned out to be, I don't, I don't think as highly of that LSU win. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still a great win on the road, but after going back and seeing that game again, um, I think LSU has some holes in it in their team too. I also think Florida is a pissed off team,
I think they
and
are too.
DJ Lagway is going to get better every week. He's
Yeah.
been hurt for all off season. He's a great player, really talented. We saw last
Yeah.
year he progressed. I think he's going to get better. It's hard to play
Yeah.
worse than he played last week. So I think you get a better performance from him. I think they get their true freshman Dallas Wilson wide receiver back for that game. I think he's a difference maker, and I'd watch out for that game. It's in Death Valley at night, which always
Yeah.
helps. But LSU can't skate through that game the way they've been playing. I think they need to turn up a notch. They turn up a
Yeah.
notch, they could very easily win this game by double digits. So
I
so
will
we'll see
say
that.
I will say too, if USF continues to do what they're doing, that that win against Florida or that loss on Florida's record, that doesn't look as bad if
No,
USF
no,
keeps on doing what they're
that is
doing.
true.
So Florida is definitely still not out of CFP contention, and this is probably one of the big games where they can really get back into the front runnings for it if they go down to, Death Valley and take down LSU. Again, I'm not that high on LSU. I think they are a little bit overrated, and I think this game will kind of show us, hey, where is
Where they're at.
LSU going to stand here in the SEC? Um, so again, another great game, and looking
Mhm.
forward to it.
Yeah, rounding out the day too, you have Texas A&M and Notre Dame.
Oof, big one.
Notre Dame's in a dangerous territory going 0-2, and it's a very
Yeah,
realistic possibility. Texas
yeah,
A&M hadn't looked too sharp their first two games. I think they won like 44-22, and another small team they played was kept it relatively close. Um, I think Texas A&M is a good defense though, and I'm not so sold on CJ Carr. I know he played pretty well, and he threw a long touchdown at the end of the Miami game when there was a bust. But you need to give Jeremiah Love the ball. You need to give your best player the ball, and if they don't do that, Texas A&M could win this game. So Notre Dame, you got to win this game. If you go 0-2,
yeah,
you lose to Texas A&M, you have to still go down to Arkansas, and
yeah,
that's not a guaranteed win if you can't win
yeah.
this one. So I think this is a very close one for Notre Dame. I'm not too sold on them yet.
Whoever put Notre Dame's schedule together, God bless you, because I don't know what you were thinking. Like, obviously you want to have a good strength of schedule, but you also want to win games. you know, you want to win games, and I feel like scheduling all these games at the beginning of the season, that's a lot. And just to kind of, track back to what you were saying, Texas A&M beat UTSA 42-24 and then Utah State 44-22, which obviously both of those teams aren't competitors at all. So, we'll see. So, but then yeah. So,
I think
look,
I think
yeah.
Notre Dame's AD took a tab at LSD and said, "Hey man, let's see how many conferences we can play this year. Let's go play at Miami, round that up next with
Yeah.
Texas A&M at home. Then let's go play Purdue at Arkansas and Boise State. That'd be fun. Then let's play North Carolina State and then Southern California. That's pretty cool, right? Zero idea what
And
the hell
Boston
they're
College too. They can't sleep on BC
it is the most
either.
just and then you know what? Screw it. Let's give America some favor and play the Naval Academy while we're at it. Like it just I don't
It's
get it at all. I thought
it
they were playing
it's an
some
insane
ACC
schedule.
schedule. Supposed to be
Yeah, I
pseudo
mean this is
ACC, but then
all
they just said
yeah,
screw
it's
that. Let's
it's
just
just
play whoever the
yeah.
hell we want to play.
They're playing every
So
conference. They're double dipping everywhere here. They
that's
they
whatever.
don't they don't
Then
care.
I think my last game of the night, which might could possibly be the most entertaining game of the day. It could. I'm saying big could on this, but it really could. Is Vanderbilt at South Carolina.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt looks really good this year. Not a lot of people have seen them, but they look good so far. They do have a common opponent, Virginia Tech. Um, so I mean, you can make a lot of inferences on that. Vanderbilt did beat Virginia Tech by more, but Vanderbilt also had Virginia Tech on tape. So whatever you want to say on that, South Carolina is the hardest team to gauge to me because every once in a while they put together this game. You're like, holy shit, look at that team. That looks like the number
Yeah.
5 team in the country. It looks like a national championship contender. Then next week they're struggling with Old Dominion. So it's just like you
Yeah.
you really don't know how to gauge that. And I don't know what South Carolina team that shows up. If good South Carolina shows up, they could beat Vanderbilt by as many as possible. But if that doesn't show up, this could be Vanderbilt could very easily win this game. You got Diego Pavia, you got good receivers, you might have the best tight end in the country. It's a very hard offense to stop. It's basically Georgia Tech, but with more passing. And Georgia Tech's
Yeah.
a hard offense to stop too. So a lot of options off of that. It's really going to test South Carolina's defensive um, or where their defense is. And then it'd be pretty cool if their punt returner housed another one this weekend
Yeah. Yeah.
after putting 2 on rookie mode against South Carolina State last week. So that'd be cool. But that's a big one I have my eye on, which should be
Yeah.
really, really cool for this
Yeah.
weekend. If
That
you had any thoughts on that one.
and then I not too many thoughts besides obviously Vanderbilt is not a team to be slept on right now.
Nope.
They are not a, walk through the park. They last year they got a lot of momentum. They went 6-6, but that was that was enough to get them going, to get them moving and, hopefully having eyes set on, yeah, a SEC championship. That's a lot to say, with their history and stuff, but they look good, and I think Diego Pavia too is a motivator. Watching that any given Saturday, man, he just goes out there and he just wants to win, which a lot of times you just need a quarterback that does that because those are the quarterbacks that will win you those close games, those, down and gritty games. But if South Carolina comes out flat, I don't really see them winning that. If they come out flat, I think they need a hot start. They need a kickoff, return for a
They
touchdown.
need
That's
Williams.
what
They
that's
need
what they
Williams-Brice
need.
Stadium to be in full effect. That's what they
Yeah.
need. Yeah,
Yeah.
night game in Williams-Brice is a great
I
environment.
need that
Uh,
sandstorm. Need that
I mean,
sandstorm
I mean,
going.
I remember when me and you went at noon a few years
Yeah.
ago, and it wasn't so
Yeah.
great of an environment.
No.
At Williams Rice at night is a really cool
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
So that wraps up for me. I mean, do you want to go into best bets now, or yeah, I got some bets.
I want to go upsets.
Okay, go ahead.
Upsets. I think this week I'm going to have to take Georgia Tech over Clemson.
Okay.
Um, I, like I said, I'm kind of high on GT. I I think, I don't think they're a playoff team, but I think they're a team that can, end people's seasons and make it difficult for teams that want to get to the playoffs to get there. So I think I'm going to have GT upsetting Clemson this weekend for my upset.
Yeah. I think I mentioned mine earlier, but I'm gonna take Arkansas over Ole Miss this weekend. I know it's in Ole Miss. Um, I wasn't really sold on what I saw yet, and Ole Miss could come out and smack Arkansas, but I'm gonna need to see it to believe it. I think this Arkansas team looks pretty fun, so uh, we'll see about that. But yeah, that's what I'm putting for my upset of the week.
Nice. B, another great week of football.
Yeah.
So I know this is more your forte, but what do you have for them betters out there in the world or the betters that are
Oh man.
somehow listening to this podcast
Uh,
to put a parlay together?
this is for you, Trey Jones. I got it for you. Let me put it together. I went 2 for 2 last week. Let me ask a question. Do you need some money to go to the store and buy some Voodoo Rangers? Do you need to go get a pack of Natty Ice, Ray Jones? I got something for you. We went 2 for 2 last week. I got a 4 for 4 Wendy's for you this week. We're gonna go Miami 17 and a half against USF. We're taking the Bulls all day. Why that game is 17 and a half, I have zero idea. That game is going to be a one possession game max. I think USF covers easily. I don't know why that game is up 17 and a half. It already went down. It was 18 and a half this morning. USF covers that. I think this is a close game to the end. I do think Miami wins, but I think this is a closer game than a lot of people think it will be. Definitely not 18 points. Could be wrong, but that's number one. My second one, give me Texas A&M covering 6.5 at Notre Dame. I think Texas A&M is going to win this game outright, and if they don't, I think it's going to be a field goal game. I don't see anything that Notre Dame can pull away from a team. I think these two teams are evenly matched. On defense, where it's going to be a low scoring game and not one where Notre Dame wins by a full touchdown. My third one is Tulane over Duke. Duke is favored by 1.5 in this game. Give me Tulane winning outright in New Orleans. Absolutely electric. Duke is not coming out of there with a win, even though Darian Mintz is going back to Tulane, his former school. It'll be a fun game. He's going to get booed, but give me Tulane in the end. Green Wave. Don't disrespect New Orleans. We're riding that out for all of 2025. My last one is Pittsburgh 7.5 over West Virginia. This went up from 6.5 to 7.5 today, but give me Pittsburgh anyway. West Virginia lost to Ohio last week. They also lost their starting running back and arguably their best player, Jaheim White. I don't see this team doing anything really the rest of the year. This is year one, Rich Rod for the second edition. I'm not sold on West Virginia. It is the backyard brawl. There's history there. It's a chippy game. West Virginia will come to play, but I think Pittsburgh is a good team. Got Eli Holstein throwing the rock back there, former Alabama QB. Give me Pitt, baby. Give me Pitt. We're gonna ride that out. That's your four right there. Your four lines. Parlay it. Do whatever you want. That's my line of the week. If I was in a state that could gamble, I would definitely throw some bread on that. Do that as you may. But also on top of that, I have four lines. Do not touch. You want to keep your beer money. You want to go get that Michelob Ultra Pack from the store. Don't bet this. Don't stay away from these lines. I would not touch these. Don't go Georgia, Tennessee. That game could go about 15 different ways. I do not see a way to bet that. It's UGA 3.5 right now. I could see Tennessee winning this game by 14. I could see Georgia winning this game by 14. I can't. There's it's not enough for me to take this game. We don't know enough about these two teams to do it. I would not bet this game if I were you. Stay away from it. Number two is Florida LSU. We got LSU 7.5. Not sold on LSU yet. You're gonna play a pissed off Florida team coming in. This game may be a lot closer than you think it would be. I would not take LSU, especially over a touchdown in this game. I would need to see it to believe it. But give me Florida covering in this game. Give me LSU winning. The third one I would take, do not take Clemson. I don't know really what to gauge with this. Don't stay away from that game. Clemson 3.5 is not enough for me. Yeah, I saw your outright pick for Georgia Tech winning. I could see a clear avenue for that, especially the way they play against Troy last week. But I can also see Clemson coming out and really asserting their will. So I would completely stay away from this game. Don't bet on that. There's better lines out there. The last one I say is probably the one to stay away the most. Do not put any money on South Carolina 5.5 against Vanderbilt. that game could go so many ways. South Carolina could show up and look like 2019 LSU, or Vanderbilt can show up and beat the snot out of South Carolina. So there is no way in hell I'd put any money on that game because there are so many variances this game could go. Or South Carolina could win by a few points. I'm not. I can't. I can't bet that game, knowing how different each team could be, what different forms are. I also don't think we know enough about these teams, even though there's a common opponent. I think they're pretty evenly matched, to be honest. But even if South Carolina comes out and takes over, I could see a game where they win by three. But I could see a game where Vandy wins by three. So I don't have enough there to feel comfortable about betting that game.
Well, I don't know too much about gambling, I guess, but you do sure sound confident. So I guess we'll go with that. And
All right.
Trey, if you're listening, maybe you should listen to this man. He's kind of on a heater right now.
If we hit all four next week, if we hit all four this week, I'll come out with eight next week. We'll keep doubling until we
Yeah.
miss.
Keep going.
Keep it up.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Well, I think that about wraps things up for us. Um, Really, really looking forward to another weekend of college football. It's a beautiful time of the year, especially, September rolled around. Beautiful fall weather, beautiful fall nights too. Got some great matchups. Think we'll see some great games. And, hopefully our picks are right. Hopefully we come out on top and you're not losing anyone any
I don't
money.
like to lose
So
bread over here. Yeah. No, no.
but shout out to the viewers. Thank you for watching and go ahead and give us a follow on Instagram too. Or if you don't have time to watch our videos, we are also over on Spotify. But appreciate your guys'
Yeah.
time and thanks for watching.